Are you ready to divorce your adult children? This is not a trick question. Lots of women in their 60s are realizing that their relationship with their son or their daughter isn't the Hallmark card reality that they may have expected when they started off on the life journey of being a mother. I want to talk to you today about this really hidden secret in our society, the relationship between mothers and their adult children, and how sometimes it is really a better idea to be at peace and letting things go. This is Margaret Manning with 60andMe, and I'm really happy to have you here today for this conversation. I think it's a really important one. It's one that we haven't touched on before, and it is uncovering a lot of emotion and feelings that women in their 60s are dealing with. Now, the author of this article, Kim Halsey, wrote about her own personal experience, and I would love you to read that article because it's very personal, and I'm sure a lot will relate to it. But the challenge is that society makes a family that is not, perfectly aligned and loving and sweet to each other as some kind of a negative thing. But it happens. A lot of families have got challenges that come at them from all different sides. And Dr. Christine Northrup actually makes a note that women who have children have the hormones of that childbirth in their body for 30 years. This sort of bonding, protective hormone that goes into the woman's body to protect their child. And so that means that a daughter or a son is in their early 30s and the woman is going through menopause. When you suddenly realize sometimes that lives have sort of diverged in different ways, and they're just not the way that you perhaps anticipated that they would be. So when it comes to children, who are adult children, they are living their own lives. They have got other influences coming into their world. Your son has married perhaps a woman who you don't understand or you don't have a good relationship with. They may be blocking your access, or she may be blocking the access to your grandchildren. And then your daughter may have married a man whose family wants more of a close relationship and is eliminating you from activities and conversations and decisions. And this is what's really, really hard. There is no norm in relationships anymore. So you can't look at any family or any configuration and say, that's a perfectly normal relationship. It just doesn't exist. Women, on the whole, are expected to be the responsible ones. Mothers are meant to be the protective mother forever and ever, and responsible for every decision, everything that goes wrong in your child's life. I remember many times as when my children were younger, teenagers particularly, when something would go wrong, something would happen, I would want to absorb all that pain. I would just sit there and say, please, just let me take it on for you. Not to them, but many times to myself. And that's the kind of responsibility that a lot of older women feel towards their adult children. And we expect ourselves to understand them in all dimensions, mentally, physically, psychologically, and it just doesn't work like that. So the way that Kim describes this in her own situation is she actually inherited some children when she married a second time, so there were stepchildren, plus her own children. And you can imagine how complex that kind of mixed family relationship entails. And many of you probably are dealing with that kind of relationship. You've got children that you've married into, or you've got children who, for whatever reason, just have evolved and grown in ways that you did not expect. Things happen in their workplace, in their school, things that you don't have always a lot of control over. So I think that's, you've got to start beating yourself up and realize maybe it is time to, in quotes, divorce your adult children. Okay, and along with that, of course, goes all the pain and the challenge and the dynamic of name calling, blaming, regrets that goes along with a divorce from a man or from a woman. So what is healthy when it comes to adult children? So this is what Kim tries to grapple with, because unless a relationship is kind of coming to equal partners, and they are considerate of your point of view and you're considerate of theirs, they are making an effort to understand what you might need, then there really isn't any way that you're going to be able to move forward. Across the time with your children, you may experience very close moments when they come to you and really want healing and help and advice, and then you can do that. You can feel connected. But there are going to be times when you just have to have a separation because they've gone different ways. They've made different decisions. And a lot of times it's hard because for a son or a daughter, for example, who falls in love and marries a woman or a man and really loves them deeply and wants to please them, that kind of connection has nothing to do with you. This is their love. And when that woman or man says, I don't want your mom to be close to the children, or they don't get on with you, or they're jealous, or whatever, you can list all the reasons, your son or daughter can't really do anything about it because their prime concern is their family, their wife, their husband, their children. So, that is the most heartbreaking thing, in my opinion, when grandmothers are not allowed to see their grandchildren. And I have many friends actually who are fighting battles with themselves every single day on this. And Kim is saying, hey, our life suddenly becomes an illusion. It's not real. It's not fun. It's not what we wanted as we are now older women in our 60s or 70s. We've done our best. And I think that's what we have to, realize, is that anywhere along the path, we've done our best. So she says, you've got to make peace with yourself as well as with the family member, the son or daughter, and decide whether it's time to maybe not divorce, but have a separation. And then maybe it will come back. Maybe as everyone matures and gets older and the children get older, things will, come back. But don't, in my opinion, build barriers, build walls that you can never break down again. I think that's the most dangerous thing. Just accept that this time there's going to be some distance. So the distance that she talks about in this conversation is the distance that you create between yourself and your world. And this is the perfectly hidden depression that Dr. Margaret Rutherford talks about, where we're depressed, we're sad, we walk out in the world and we are full of tears inside of us, but we smile and we carry on. That is the distance that we start to create when we have an unhappy family relationship. If we feel so guilty, like it shouldn't be like this, it should be happier, it should be more perfect, whatever definition that is. It's really hard. So the divorce, the divorce is a really hard word. And we know this from perhaps a marriage that didn't work. We know that divorce hurts so badly that you feel so insecure, and so it just shatters you and makes you a broken person in so many ways. And that it takes years, to overcome whatever it was at the heart of that separation, whether it was, adultery, or whether it was just an alcohol problem or some kind of other addiction, whether it was just a change that both of you had made in your growing up as adults together. Whatever it was, that stays with you forever and ever. And it's a broken feeling inside of you that's hard to heal. And this is the same that Kim talks about when you're divorcing your adult children. To some people, this may seem completely unrealistic and so cruel. And like you may say in the comments below, I'd never do that. I would never divorce my adult children, divorce in quotes. I would never let them go. But then others of you I know are going to get this. You're going to understand this, and why Kim suggests that divorcing your adult children is the only thing that you can do sometimes to maintain your sanity. And that sanity is where we talked about this pain that won't go away, that you keep ignoring, but you've got to embrace. So when it's done, you've got to find a place of acceptance. And Kim does a lot of talking about this in her article, which I really liked, that she didn't just stop it at do the divorce and be on with it. It was like, you've got to heal. You've got to accept that your life right now is where it is. Your adult children are not going to be a part of it, or they're going to be a part of it in a different way than you ever expected. And that's, I think, the acceptance. And you have to become dedicated to reality at all costs. You can't hide behind an illusion or behind a myth that somehow this relationship is going to suddenly overnight get better. What's next? So what's next for your children? Well, Kim says, should I have done stuff differently? Yes. Did I make mistakes? Of course. Do you regret those mistakes? Sometimes. But you have to, pull it all together and look at, this is how it's always been. Children live their own lives. We give them roots. We've got to give them wings. We've got to allow them to fly their own way. And then we've got to break the shame about this. So if you are a woman who is dealing with a situation with an adult child, you don't have to go into great detail about it, but if you want to just leave your comments below, do you find yourself in the process of letting go of a relationship with an adult child? I would really like to hear your story, and I think it would help others. So please leave your comments below, and know that we've got a lot of articles actually about this topic on our website, and some resources that you might want to join. I know on Facebook there's a couple of really good sites for women with estranged children, and I really encourage you to go back to 60andMe website and check those out. Hope it's been good chatting about this. It's kind of a heartbreaking one, isn't it? I mean, even, thinking about some of my own situations, it's just, they're hard. But we have to do the best we can, and we have to think about ourselves as well. We have to put ourselves in some primary position and love ourselves. Take good care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk again about this topic and many, many others soon. Bye-bye for now.